All right, we're going to be doing triangles and their angles. This is actually, I have labeled this one on your assignment sheets, the grammar of triangles. For those of you who are new to that whole word grammar, grammar is, for many people, is associated with English, okay? But that's not really the technical idea that I'm going for. Grammar is all of the vocabulary that has to go on the basic stuff that you need to know about triangles before we can move on, okay? And so we're going to be talking about the vocabulary of triangles here. You have a handout, and I've got a picture of it right here. I've already made it for you. One of the sides has three little doors on this side, and then 4 doors on that side, almost like a car. And then you should have 3 little sections in there that we're going to put notes on. All right, that'll be your note sheets all for today. If you want at the top somewhere, I would actually put it right here on the side where the holes get punched. I would write something like 4.1 or grammar of triangles or something over there, because you're going to put titles over here in these sections, and so you won't have room to put that title. That's why I was suggesting that you'd put it over here near those the holes. 4.1, something, either grammar of triangles or something there. You can put it along the side. Maybe like Amy, I'm going to make a... Oh, that's a bad color. I'm going to make simple grammar of triangles. All right. All right. So you have it folded. I'm going to be pulling things off as we go. At the very top of your paper, I want you to write the word sides and angles. Sides goes on the left, angles goes on the right. Then I will be pulling on you. I would suggest you do them in like some kind of color. I think that would be best.
Whoa. Where are we supposed to write?
Very, very top. Sides on the...
So like over above these?
No. Here.
Oh, like on...
Yes, on those... Yeah, you see that? Okay. All right. Give me a... When you're done. We already wrote it. Fantastic. All right. Next, we're going to come down, and I'm going to pull this one off, and you might have already saw it on my paper here. You're going to put equilateral and acute. I'll slow down a little. I've got some people who are still writing. This is what the colors were for. You can take some time to... And it's going to be... The sides and the equilateral are going to be on the same flap, I mean. And so don't stress about that. We'll write some stuff on the inside there. Equilateral and acute. We're just getting your note sheets prepared for us to talk about what they actually are. But we're getting those there. Only got one person using color. How boring.
I'm going to do color after I do it with pencil because I'm so picky about my handwriting.
Okay. Here we go. Next one up. 3 of them there. We've got isosceles. It's actually good for you to hear how these are said if you've never heard them before.
Wow.
Isosceles on the side with the word side there.
It doesn't...
Isosceles. And then we got equiangular. And then the word right. Each of them on their own flap. Actually, that would be a good idea. If you did them in pencil now, you would be actually reviewing your notes if you went over them later with a different color. With the color, you'd be actually reviewing. Last thing at the bottom.
Wait.
It's okay. You're
Okay.
fine. We've got scalene.
Mm.
I often thought it would be really cool to name my daughter Scalene. Doesn't that sound like a girl name? Scalene.
Good luck.
She's not named Scalene, by the way.
Thank
Good.
goodness.
I like Mariah.
Uh-huh. I like her too.
That's a good thing.
And the last one is
I hope so.
obtuse. Obtuse. Some of these you may have heard before. Some of them might be new. All of them might be new.
Sure hope right isn't new since we've been doing it all year.
All right. Inside these flaps, you're going to have a picture and some words. You're going to have a picture and some words as we go along. All right. So first of all, I'm going to give you the words. We're going to do the vocabulary for triangles, which is the same as the grammar for the triangles. We're going to do the classifying by the sides. So on your little notes, we're going to be going down the left-hand side. First of all, we're going to talk about an equilateral triangle. I'm going to be giving you the words. You have now two sections. You have, if you notice where the fold is, you have two sections. You could split that if you'd like. One side's the words, one side's the pictures. You could do the words at the top, the picture at the bottom. I'm not dictating that to you. I'm letting you choose. So the equilateral, here's the words. It means three congruent sides. So if you had an equilateral triangle, it would be a triangle with three congruent sides. I got it.
I've been doing this all day.
I got it. I'm not going to give a picture yet. We're going to just do the words. We're going to move down now to the isosceles one. The isosceles, we're going to actually go in descending order. We started with three congruent sides. Now we're moving down to two congruent sides. Now the last one, I went 3, 2. Could I go one congruent side?
No,
Congruent has to be two things to be congruent. So you can't have one congruent side. So what can you have then? No congruent sides. So scalene means that nothing is congruent. No congruent sides. All the lengths of the sides are different from each other. So in our note-taking right now, it's going to be a quiz and a note-taking at the same time, all right? I'm going to bring up a picture. We're going to classify, and once we figure out where it should go, you're going to draw it in the appropriate place, okay? So I'm going to bring a picture, and you need to tell me if it's equilateral, isosceles, or scalene. Here we go. First picture. Why? Nothing's congruent. Now, you don't know that unless there's marks. So you can't assume that any of these equilateral isosceles are true unless there's marks on them. There is no marks on that one. That is a scalene triangle. There are lots of ways to draw a scalene triangle as long as all of them have different lengths. We have a short, a medium, and an extra long would be a scalene. Make sure they have 3 different lengths when you're drawing it. To me, that's the easiest, to just give yourself a short one, a medium one, and at the end, give yourself a long one.
Lines makes it hard to draw the triangles.
Yeah,
That's why I took mine out, because I knew I was going to end up... Oh, wait. What is...
You're okay. Just be really careful, Amy. Don't draw one where these two... Let me get my picture. Where they look very similar in length, because those actually they almost look like they're the same. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Make one noticeably smaller than a medium and a large one, because that one almost looks like there's 2 sides congruent. Next one coming up.
This one they look similar to the same side.
I heard 2 people say that's equilateral. That is true. Notice that the marks are all the same on all 3 sides. So when you're drawing that one, try your best to make sure that they're all equal, but then you can put the marks on just to verify. If you see a triangle in your homework that has no marks on it but looks equilateral, it is not equilateral unless it has marks on it.
And is it the same with isosceles?
Ooh. Is that an isosceles triangle right there?
No.
Yes.
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it
The
is
rule
a-
would apply to isosceles triangles, yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
how.
Yeah. But is this isosceles?
Yes.
Yes.
It is. All right, because it has two congruent sides. It just happens to have an extra one, okay? All right. So equilateral is isosceles. Last one, process of elimination. I made mine very, very noticeable. I made it super tall, and then this,
looks somewhat like that.
and then this bottom one. We'll talk about the terminology in a moment. I'm saying this the bottom side, but there's a term for that in a minute. We're going to talk about it, but I don't want to give it away yet. This one is really small, so that we can't confuse it at all. Is this one, we just talked about a minute, that equilateral was an isosceles, but this is isosceles. Is it equilateral?
No.
No, so we can go one direction, but not backwards. All right, here we go. Now we're going to transition to, now we're going to go to the angles, all right? There are 4 of those. We're going to go to the other flaps on the other side. You have words. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go all the words, and then we'll do a little quiz. The first one is the word acute. And an acute triangle has a triangle with all 3 angles are acute angles. So all of the angles are less than 90 degrees. And I've abbreviated that sentence very short. But it is, if you wanted to write a whole sentence, which probably you won't, but a triangle with 3 acute angles. All right, next one. An equiangular. Does anybody want to devise a plan on what that one probably is?
All 3 angles are congruent.
Yes. 3 congruent angles. All 3 of them are congruent. Next one. Am I going too fast? All right. Right. A right triangle has 1 right angle. Later, when we figure out about later on today, at the end of this, we'll talk about why it doesn't have 2 right angles, why it only has 1. But a right triangle has 1 right angle. And last, obtuse. We already learned what an obtuse angle is. An obtuse triangle has 1 obtuse angle, only 1. We'll talk about why in a little bit. These ones won't have to be marked. The only thing that will have to be marked on these, the obtuse and the acute will not have to be marked. You're going to have to be able to visually see an acute and an obtuse. You've had practice with homework on visualizing that. But equiangular and right have to be marked for it to be true. All right, here's our little quiz. Then you can draw your figure. Is this one, which one is this one?
Right.
It is a right, and notice, you know that because
And then
it has the mark in the corner at the bottom. It has this mark down here at the bottom, okay? If it doesn't have that mark, you do not know it is a right triangle. I actually drew this, and I should have drawn it a little. You could also draw your right triangle. Draw it a little longer, too, so that it would maybe be a scalene one. Right now, this looks like an isosceles right triangle, but it doesn't have to be. It could be scalene.
if you hear a big crash bang down the road in the street, you'll know who it is.
It's you. You're having trouble today. All right, next one. This one.
Right, I mean acute.
Obtuse.
Which is it, acute or obtuse?
Obtuse.
Obtuse.
Because acute has to have all
yeah,
3.
that's right.
Yes. So this one, these. But by the way, these ones are
acute.
acute, but this one right here is obtuse. All right.
Oh, goodness.
All right, next one.
Acute.
Acute. I think that I love the word acute because it sounds like little and cute. Cute. Okay,
so
it's like,
cute.
oh, Scalene, you're so acute.
Oh, no. Don't go there.
I think she already did it.
Move on any further into that.
It's better than being, oh, Scalene, you're so obtuse.
Just don't tell my mom about that, or we're gonna have a long day at home. Especially if she had a bad day at work.
All right, here we go. Last one. My little marks are a little crude there, but we're going to deal with it. All right, so we've got equiangular. They're all marked. Questions? So you have some words and some pictures inside there. For those of you who go over your notes again, it would be nice for you that you can then, put them in color at the same time you're reviewing them and you rewrite them. It's going to be good for your brain. All right. All right. This part is now this area of your notes right there. You're going to write some. I'm going to, at the top up here, I would suggest you write something about labeling, or it says always label your triangles with capital letters. And so I would put a title right up the top up there, labeling. And since it's the paper's blue, your pencil might not show up very well. So you might want to pick a marker, but that's just a suggestion. So when you label, you might want to, in that, and then I actually gave you a white space there to put some notes, and you're can draw a picture in there. Label it with capital letters. You might just put something like capital letters. We're going to put a couple more terms there. And you can draw a triangle because we're going to label that triangle in there. And this triangle up there, if I put some labels on it, that will always be capital. For some reason, I always like to use A, B, C, and so does others, but you don't have to. And they don't have to be in alphabetical order. I could have named it L, T, and F if I wanted to. But notice that they're capital.
I can't even draw a straight line with the ruler.
I understand.
I don't even try. Next. Now, when we name this triangle, we put the triangle symbol in front, like we would an angle, except we make it a triangle. It's no longer angle ABC, it is triangle ABC. That way we know the difference between the two. We put a triangle symbol in front. I could have named this, not ABC, they do not have to be in alphabetical order. I could have named this triangle B, AC. There's tons of them I could do CAB. There's lots of different I could do. So you just need to go around the triangle. And it won't really matter because no matter how you pick it, it's going to go around the triangle. Right?
Oh wait, that's exactly right.
Okay. Questions about this? Again, this is the vocabulary so that we know how to use this. All right, now, the points or the corners are called vertices. That's plural. So if I called A and C are vertices, But if I wanted to use singular, I would say the vertex. So C is the vertex, is one of the vertices, or point to the vertex labeled C. So I can have, so you'll know the plural form and the singular form. You don't want to sound unintelligent when you're speaking. I'm giving you both the plural and the singular.
Well, that happens.
Now we really are getting into that English grammar stuff, singular and plural. You don't have to write that full sentence. You can say something about vertices equals singular, or vertex equals,
I'll finish it.
excuse me, vertex is singular, vertices plural.
I'm going to finish it later.
Okay. People are still writing. It's okay. All right, and I've just made all of the vertices change colors. Go back, sorry. All right, now open up your right triangle flap. We're going to give a little bit more. I think there might be some room in there for it, hopefully. You've given yourself a triangle in there, a right triangle. We're going to label it. First, don't draw anything, okay? There's just some words going to go up on the screen, and then I will be putting them on the triangle for you to draw. So this is just for you to watch for a moment. We're going to give the names of the sides. Right triangles have special names for the sides. First of all, we have some legs. The legs are the shorter of the sides. The last one is the hypotenuse. That's a long, almost strange-looking word. If you've never heard it before, it's strange. The hypotenuse is the longest side, which just actually coincides. It's the opposite side of the right triangle. The right side, excuse me. So the right angle. So here's the right angle, and it's the opposite side. This one is the hypotenuse.
Always or right now?
Always, always. The hypotenuse is the one opposite of the right angle, and it's always the longest side. So this is what I was thinking that would be the easiest for you to do, is to just draw it right on top of your triangle, okay? The legs are the short ones. The hypotenuse is the longest. My triangle right there actually doesn't look, it does scalene. The legs are not necessarily the same length. Right, here we go. Now, we're going to talk about some opposite sides. I'm going to give you some letters here, and we're also going to talk about some adjacent sides. This will get more into it when we do some stuff with trigonometry, but if I labeled these, you guys can just watch. If you want to write it down, you can. There isn't going to be a lot of assignments, but with this, it'll be like almost like one of those little advertisements for later, and you have it in the recesses of your brain. So, the opposite of angle A will be over to the other side over here. So the opposite of angle A is BC. Are you with me so far? What would be the opposite of angle B?
AC.
AC. Very good. Very straightforward. Okay. What about the opposite of angle C?
AB or BA.
BA or AB, which is the hypotenuse. Okay, now we're going to talk about adjacent. Adjacent means right next door. And usually when we talk about the adjacent, it means not the hypotenuse. Not always, but so if I actually, it depends on how I asked it. If I said the adjacent leg to angle A, what would be the adjacent leg to angle A?
BC.
BC is the opposite leg.
C.
Which one?
C.
C is just a vertice. I need a whole leg. The leg adjacent means the one right next to it.
AC.
AC is the adjacent leg. Now I have another side of the triangle that's adjacent, which would be the hypotenuse AB. But if I said it specifically the adjacent leg. So if I did this one and I said the adjacent leg to angle B.
BC.
BC, yes. Now this is a trick. Be careful. The adjacent leg to angle C.
CB and CA.
Both of them.
BCA.
A BC. Well, I
Would you be able to
don't
do that?
know if you could do. You'd probably have to do BC
Well, no,
and
BCA
AC.
would include the whole triangle.
Yeah, I would include the whole.
Yeah, you'd have to do it twice. You'd have to write, if I asked that question, it would be BC and AC. Okay? All right. All right. Now we're going to open up your isosceles flap. Your isosceles. We'll be coming back to these, so we'll be putting a little bit of information as we go on to some of those later too. But then we have some, just like the right triangle had names for their sides, so do isosceles. Just watch for a moment, then you can just draw them right on top. We have some legs also. Those are the ones that are the two congruent sides. And the one that's left over is the third side. And I don't want to, when you say base, sometimes you think it's the bottom. Be very careful. Your isosceles triangle could be laid on its side or turned over, and you could have it like this.
It's kind of like putting a chair on its side. It's still going.
This one is still over there, is still the base. This is still the base, even though it's not lying on its base, okay? So here is the legs. They're the ones that are the congruent ones, and the base is the lone one all by itself. And it's not always the shortest either. Your isosceles can be an obtuse isosceles triangle, and that base could be the longest. So, okay, it's just the one that's not the congruent one. All right. All right, now let's do some examples. Go ahead and turn to your assignment sheet. We're going to do some more notes, so just keep that available to yourself. We're going to do some examples. I've got number 1 there. You actually might want to keep your notes out if you need to look at them. We're going to classify each of the triangles there, but there's only one on that one, by the way, by its side. So the side options that you have are on the left side: equilateral, isosceles, or scalene.
Equilateral, right?
How do you know if it's equilateral?
Because they're all equal.
They're all equal. They're all 12.6. You are correct. The answer is equilateral. That's correct.
This really needs to be fixed. Well,
Too many things in there.
no, this binder I can't turn pages because it's offset, so it gets caught.
Okay. I have another notebook. We can put it in. Equilateral. Obviously, you're not going to write that large.
Wait, did you just put half the page up there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. So I'm only doing the odds down the side. You're going to do, I took out the rest of the numbers in there for you.
Oh.
So you have them on yours, but I took them out for just for this demonstration, okay? You have numbers 2, 4, 6, and 8 on there. I just took them off. And 10. Number 3, we're going to go down. Classify each triangle by its side. Equal sides at equal angles, if any, are indicated in the diagram. So does this have any equal sides or equal angles?
No.
So it's standard.
So it's scalene. Very good. Now the next one, oh wait, you guys are still writing. The next one says classify it by its angles now. So your options are on the right-hand side: acute, equiangular, right, and obtuse.
Obtuse.
I heard it's obtuse. Which one makes it obtuse?
116.
The 116, that is correct, right there. Number 7, this time doesn't have any measures on it. It just has marks. Is this one obtuse, right, scalene, acute?
Right.
I heard, what makes it right?
Right angle.
That little right angle, the little square in the corner right there, correct?
Question.
Yes.
If we have a triangle that is acute, it's also going to be equiangular. So are we going to list them both?
That is a good question.
Oh, yeah.
Equiangular, or you should be, in this case, equiangular trumps the acute.
Okay.
All right? Technically, equiangular. How do you know that, Inraya? What is the equiangular going to be? How do you know they're acute?
Oh, wait, this one's not mine. Right?
Equiangular. Well, it has
Right.
question. With
Uh-huh.
number 3 and 4, it says over here, classify each triangle by its sides, but then it says equal sides and equal angles, if any are indicated by each diagram.
Yeah, I don't know why they say the equal angles, because this is by its side, so don't worry about the angles part. Because we're not worrying about its angles right now. We're just worrying about its sides. So on 3 and 4, just go by its sides. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's go down to 9, unless there's any more other questions, because you guys had great
I
questions.
put obtuse and scalar for this one.
You put, so that's right, we have to do both. We have to do its sides and angles. I agree that it's
Oh.
obtuse. Which angle told you that it was obtuse?
The
116.
116.
Very good, so it is obtuse. And then you said scalene, or what did you say?
I said scalene.
Scalene, yes, no, no,
Oh,
it's
wait,
not a
no,
scalene,
no,
it's
no,
not a
it's
scalene.
isosceles.
It's isosceles, very good. And I always spell isosceles wrong. I need to,
Isosceles.
Ugh.
here we go.
It's like some Latin.
So we've done some examples so you kind of get an idea what we're looking for your homework. All right, some of you even jumped ahead and did some of the other ones to look at them. All right.
Hey, it's less homework.
I know,
Yes.
right?
All right, now we're going to do some more vocab, 2 more. And I put the diagram up here. We're going to be doing these last two little spaces. I'll give you the title. I'm giving you a title right now, actually. This top part, put the word interior angles. I have drawn a kind of a strange triangle so that you can see that they're inside. And you'll understand why when I get to the next vocabulary word. So when you draw your triangle, draw it like that. Interior angles.
Oh wait, that's.
Wait, what are we doing?
We're putting it right here in that the title right there, and you're drawing a triangle. Your interior angles are the ones on the inside of the triangle, and I'll talk about that in a moment. You'll understand a little better when I give you the next vocabulary word.
No, it's not gonna.
We're putting that right here, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very good.
We don't have to put anything else in that space, right? So we can use it.
Yeah, you might have a little bit of words, but it's
Not in this blue space.
no, not in the blue space. The only title you need in that blue space is interior angles for the title. Okay. On the white space, you might need a little bit more.
Oh, great. Where's the- We're supposed to write it with the extra lines going out?
Yes, do.
And then how am I supposed to mark the interior angles?
Just you can put color inside there, little blotches of color for the inside. They're the angles on the inside of the triangle. I want to show you what. Now we're going to talk about exterior angles, and that's why I drew those long lines. You're going to draw again like this. This time your exterior angles are on the outside. Notice that I didn't draw, the lines don't continue all across, like right here. That line didn't continue across. That would have been a little, so these are the exterior angles. They're the ones that are adjacent to the interior angles. We're going to do some theorems with this.
We're gonna have to draw that one too, aren't we?
That's correct. And so that one goes down below. This is your exterior angles go down here.
Oh.
You have the title exterior angles in the blue, and then you have a little picture there. Okay?
Oh, so it's not in the same exact box, is it?
It's not in the same exact box.
Oh,
No.
okay. I thought you just said.
And there's going to be a little bit of words in there for some numbers on how we calculate things. Okay.
And the title is exterior.
Exterior angles. That's correct. Helping you organize your notes here and give them some, so they're all concise on one page. Part of geometry is not just knowing, but it's actually drawing.
The drawing's probably my only favorite part of it.
Oh wait, we're supposed to write these two different things in different places?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
well,
see.
they're writing the interior on this one and the exterior on this one.
Okay, so that's no problem because we just put the part about labeling with capital letters. We put that there, but it's not going to be a problem if you
I
put
put
it.
that here.
And so what
I
about
put the interior
Oh,
angles right
I
here.
see.
I put the exterior. Right
That's fine. If that's not going to hurt me, it's
Okay.
just okay. I was trying to give you white space because drawing on the blue sometimes you can't see your pencil as well. So that's why I was trying to give you the white space with the little pieces there.
Oh, goodness gracious.
All right. So now that you have the vocabulary for the interior angles and the vocabulary for the outside of the angles, what is the relationship between this interior and this exterior? What's the relationship with those two? These two. Are they vertical? They're adjacent. And what's the relationship like with numbers? They add up to something. They add up to 180. What is another word, one word for add up to 180? Supplementary. So those two are supplementary. That's good to know. Interior and exterior angles are supplementary, right? There's going to be a theorem about both of those in just a minute. Waiting to... Very good. Okay. Here we go. You have two theorems. They're the very top. And if you don't, we better, because I don't have them written up here. So keep this little note sheets handy and find your term sheet. So it's the first two terms on your term sheet. First one is the triangle sum theorem. We actually go in order of when we do your postulates and theorems, we generally go in order. Not exactly in order, but we generally go in order. The triangle sum theorem, please someone read that out loud.
The sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180.
Okay, so the sum of the measures of the triangles is 180. What in the world does that mean? What's the word sum mean in math? Add up. Okay, so all of the angles in a triangle add up to what?
180.
180. All right. So we're going to do that in a minute. We're going to do these in a minute. So if you want to somehow summarize that angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, you can do that if you want. Angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equal how much? 180. If you'd like to write that down like that inside your interior angles box right there.
Where?
Somewhere in there. Give yourself some note about that. If you want to write the whole theorem out, feel free to do that. Something about that the angles on the inside of a triangle add up to 180. You will use this over and over and over throughout the school year. The triangle sum theorem. And you might not use it as much. You will use it sometimes in a proof, but you will use it more often solving for x or so forth. Doing things to find angles in a triangle. Okay? All right, let's move to the next one. We're going to do let's do this one. All right, so I'm going to 11 and 14 in your... And those, I took those, pieced those off, so you don't have, you'll do 12 and 13 and so forth, but we're going to do 11 and 14.
Which number? 4.1?
That's exactly right, yes, 4.1, numbers 11 and 14. We're going to do 11 first. Notice 11 has no algebra, just numbers, and 14 has some letters in it. So in number 11 says that this one is 60 and that one's 75. So how in the world do I find the extra piece?
60 plus 75.
Okay, very good. So I'm gonna put the 180 first, but I agree with you, and I'm gonna subtract those two added together. 60 plus 75. There's another way you could have written it. You could have written 60 plus 75 plus x equals 180. However you like. Those are both work. Anybody want to tell me what 60 and 75 are when they add together? How much?
The answer?
No, just the 60 plus the 75.
155. 135.
I got one. Which is it? 135 or 155?
60 plus 75? I have 145.
135.
135? Okay. So 180 minus 135.
Oh, minus.
What?
And which would be the same thing? 135 plus x equals 130. If you want to write, excuse me, 180. If you want to make that into, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to subtract now. And so 50,
What?
45?
Yeah.
Is that 45? Okay.
What are you... Wait.
45. Okay.
Okay.
We added those two together. They have to add up all to 180. All right, number 14. Number 14. How in the world are we going to do this one?
70 plus 6x plus 16 plus 40 equals 180.
Okay, so we have the 70 plus 6x plus 16. That's the second angle. And the third angle is 40 equals 180. And now we have to solve that equation.
Okay.
I know, oh, no. I know what, let's see, 70 and 40 is 110.
No, wait.
126?
I
Yeah.
added them all
Yes,
together.
70 and 40 is 126. And 16, 70 and 40 and 16.
70, 40, and 16 is
Yeah,
126.
70, 40, and 60
Oops,
is
equals,
126.
not plus. Subtract that 126.
Got it.
Got it.
6x, what is the 180 minus 26?
Minus 126 is 54.
54. Okay, that nice. It comes out even. X is 9.
9.
Is that what they asked for? Be careful. You know, sometimes they want you to plug things back in. Are we supposed to plug this 9 back
No,
in?
we're solving for X.
The answer, the question was solve for X. Make sure you read the instructions always. X equals 9. Questions about these?
No.
I'm thinking you guys are still working, but you're working on the other questions. Just being sneaky. All right, now let's go to those exterior angles. Now, I'm going to tell you this before we go on, okay? Of all the concepts that we did today, this one is more complicated, but not like overwhelmingly more complicated. Nothing like proofs or anything, okay? Because I've heard lots of people talk to me about proofs being hard. This is nothing like proofs, but this is a little more complicated. So, if when I talk about this, you don't know what I'm talking about, tell me so I can clarify, because you'll get it by the time we're done, but it's a little more complicated. All right, so let's read the second theorem on your note sheet. I mean your term sheets. Someone read that out to me.
Wait,
And Uriah read last time, so we'll have someone else.
Amy did.
Oh, Amy did last time. Thank you. I'm sorry.
The second one?
Mm-hmm.
Exterior angle theorem. Measure of exterior angle is equal to the sum of the remote interior angles.
Okay, so the sum of the exterior angles. So I'm going to draw a picture.
Wait, are we having to write more on this blue thing?
On the blue thing, this is the one at the bottom. This is our exterior angles thing. You already have your triangle drawn, okay? So I'm going to draw one. Just for simplicity, I'm only going to draw one exterior angle. You have 3, and that's okay, all right? This exterior angle I am going to call X, okay? It said that this exterior angle is equal to the sum of what? Can you read that again, Nora? The sum of the remote interior. If I tell you I'm going to a remote island, am I going to a close island or a far away island?
Far away.
Okay, so the word remote means far away. So the remote interior angles, is that plural or singular angles?
Plural.
Plural, and it's the sum. Sum means
Addition.
So I am going to add the furthest angles together. So I'm going to just label these, number 1, number 2, and number 3. Which ones are the furthest from X on the inside? 2 and 3. So I love equations personally. So X is the...
Is it 2 plus 3
Yes.
equals 1?
Is angle 2 plus angle 3. I love equations. When you write this in your postulate book, feel free to draw this picture and write this equation, so that when you have to look back at your postulate book, you'll know what's going on. So to find this exterior angle, I add the furthest 2 angles away from it, but on the inside. Okay? So let's do some examples. All right, I'm ready to draw. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't go too fast. Here are some examples. We're going to do numbers 17 and 20 together. So that angle 110 equals what plus what?
What number is this again?
This is number 17.
Oh, so
The 110 is the exterior, and it equals the remote interior, the faraway interior. What is what? Someone help me out. 110 equals what plus what?
The answer is 7. I mean, 30.
80.
Sorry.
The answer is 30, but when I'm in my equation here, 110 equals...
I did 80 minus, I did 110 minus 80. That's all I did to get.
Okay, so I'm going to write, fantastic, you did it great. I'm going to write it like this, 80 plus x. So I kind of wrote it like my little equation that I wrote you before. So this is the exterior angle equals the sum of the remote interior, which is the same, Brett, as what you did. You subtracted 80 from that. And I did get 30, unless I did something wrong. Make sure I did set 30. Is 110 minus 80 30?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, so you just did it that way?
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Did you do it a different way, Amy? You could have.
Well, I was writing it down both ways. but-
Yes. Feel free to write it down 110 minus 80. 110 minus 80. And then just, it should be 80.
So you can't just do it that way?
You could, definitely. I'm showing you how to do the equation way, because down here on number 20, you're going to have to do it the equation way. So-
I got,
Go ahead, Brett. What equation did you write down?
x equals 4 for that.
Ooh, my goodness, he's writing fast. What original equation did you write?
I did 22 plus 20x
22, I agree, plus 20x plus
5
plus
equals
5.
25x plus 7.
Yes. Which, this is the exterior that I had just underlined. That's the exterior, and it equals the sum of the two remote interiors. That's the far away ones. Now we have to add some stuff together. That makes 27. Plus 20x equals 25x plus 7. I like to bring the 20 over. That means I have to bring the 7 over. So I'll have 20 equals
X equals 4, that's what I got too.
5x. Divide by the 5. X equals 4. Got that? Okay.
Oh, wait, no, I should do that right. Darn it.
Glad I gave myself that whole piece of paper. My writing was huge. Some of those vocabulary words that we started out at the beginning, some of those are new for you, some of them are not new. I think this exterior angle theorem is probably new for everyone. I'm not for sure. Okay? All right, we're going to move on to the next section now. Except, I'll wait, Amy.
No, yeah.
My bad, I'll wait.
Okay.
Yeah, wait 1 second.
You're still working on that. You're doing number 21.
I know how to get there. It's just
22.
1 second.
You're fine. Don't stress.
Okay.
Don't stress. Fantastic. All right, here we go. This is, if you guys will look on up here now, please. All right, we learned about how to name things by the sides and angles, and we learned some information about interior angles and exterior angles. The top two on your homework, there's like 30 questions compared to normal, but those first like 8 or something are just like telling me if it's a right or a scalene, or it's just writing in Word compared to like doing equations. So it looks long, but the first part of it is not. These ones at the bottom are a little bit longer, but I think we almost did half your assignment right now.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
On the whole
x.
Separating the sides and angles.
Yes.
There we
Aren't they
go.
kind of all angles though? Why
These ones are the sides. So if the sides are equal, then it's equilateral. But if the angles are equal, it's equilateral. Equiangular, excuse me.
You're
Did I
almost
answer your
done with
question?
the first day.
Yeah.
I mean, you only
Yeah,
got
that's
like
why I did it.
All right.
Well, I only have 2 on the
Yay.
first page left.
2 more.